Well, let's speak to Johan Eldebo, who's Senior Humanitarian Policy Advisor for World Vision. He's just returned from South Sudan. Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us. I wonder if you could start by just giving us an idea in terms of the basic numbers at risk from famine in the area.
Yeah, thank you very much. What we're seeing now unfold in South Sudan is possibly the worst crisis in Africa at the moment, with 3.8 million people in need of assistance immediately, which is about half of the population in the country.
Now, you're one of, I think, 7 charities who have quite a major funding gap. I think it's £52 million in total. You, at World Vision, 19 million. Why have you got that gap? And what I mean, that is almost crisis point, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've been operating in South Sudan for more than 20 years. We have more than 700 staff on the ground. And what we're doing as an organization is to scale up our operations to meet the need across the country, especially looking at food assistance, which comes at a very high cost in a place like South Sudan, which is why the funding gap is so big.
And in terms of you have intense fighting in that region, how much more difficult does that make things for you as a charity to operate?
It makes it very difficult in some places. So with front lines moving back and forth, you have to be able to move quickly and react to what's happening on the ground. So it makes air transport very important. It means you have to move staff around it, but it also means that people who need aid also move around a lot.
And I suppose that also plays into what we were previously talking about, which is costs. The costs go up. Now, sure. You've got 1.5 million people displaced. We saw some of the pictures there. Give me a sense of the conditions they are living in.
When I was there a few weeks ago now, I met with a number of children who, instead of carrying books to school, they were walking around with weapons going to war. And later on the same day, I visited a hospital that was struggling to meet the needs of people in that community. Shortly after that, that hospital was destroyed and unable to meet the needs in that community as well. So we see growing needs all across the country.
And then we're seeing pictures of the fighting I was just talking about a short while ago. I mean, there have been so many attempts to try to resolve this. All of them have failed. What is required, do you think?
I think what has happened is that the hope of the country from independence has turned into more fear and despair than we've seen before. So right now you have the people bearing the brunt of this cost. Children and communities are in need of immediate assistance, but what needs to happen going forward is that we need to find a way to end the conflict, to bring peace to South Sudan. And in the meantime, we need to provide food, water, medical care to people who need it. And
I read here that you describe the situation as its breaking point in that country, and sure. That's without considering any other disaster which you think could strike at any minute.
We see growing needs now, with crops likely to fail, increasing hunger. So yeah, I mean, the needs are increasing, conflict is increasing. So we have a window now to act before it gets to the point of, for example, famine. Come now, and the funding gap we have, where many organizations are funded to less than 50%, means we need to act fast.
And very briefly, when you talk about a window before famine hits, what is that window in terms of the time period?
It's hard to predict exactly when that might happen, but I mean the next couple of weeks now before it starts raining again. So I mean, if you look across the next 6 months, will be absolutely crucial to make sure that next year doesn't become an absolute catastrophe across the country.
Okay, Johan Eldebo, thanks very much.